Hello, Art Fam. It's Luis Martin, the art engineer. And yes, believe it or not, I'm back in the studio. Look at all this insanity around me, and I love it. Thank you for joining me. Be sure to like, subscribe, send me some good vibes, and share. Share this video with anybody who can benefit from the conversation, from the safe space, and we'll get going. You guys, I'm back from Arizona and New Mexico. It was a sight to behold, and I have a special little treat for you if you follow along. I have a special studio visit with the one and only Terry Garrett. So stay tuned. We'll talk about this in a second. Listen, it's good to leave the house sometimes, right? You leave and you go explore new territories and you take it all in. And where did I go? Well, I went to Arizona. Look at this. So this is a ephemera that I found at a thrift shop. Yes, I live in thrift shops, and this is from 1981. I was 1 year old when this thing came out. It's beautiful. It's called Arizona Highways. So let's jump in, and I'll tell you a little bit about my trip. It was really interesting. It was really eye-opening in ways that I wasn't expecting. It was last minute. We just kind of thought, let's go. Elvis and I were like, let's go. Oof, look at this. Let's go somewhere special, or not somewhere special. Let's go somewhere new. We've never been to Sedona, which is where it's a vortex. There's all this magic, and it's no joke. I don't know how to describe it. So I'm very woo. We're magic people here, so I don't have to excuse myself. I know. So we got into Phoenix, and it's a little bit over an hour and a half to get to Sedona. As we're arriving in Sedona, I kid you not, the red rocks were like moving. And I wasn't high. I mean, I don't do drugs. I didn't even have coffee yet, I don't think. But the red rocks were just like talking to me. When you look at clouds and they shift, the rocks were just telling me so many things right off the bat. And then we got to the resort and it stopped. It was the craziest thing, you guys. And I mean, I'm just jumping into it, so I'm gonna get heavy from the top. So the resort is, on sacred ground. But it wasn't when I got there. Like, the rocks were talking to me outside the resort, but once we passed the gates, it was a different story. It stopped. When there's silence and then there's more silence? Like, that's what it felt like. It was really interesting. And I have my theories as to why. So I'm gonna start with this image because it's just, I mean, you cannot have an image of the red rocks of Arizona and not already be inspired. So I'm gonna mix this up with something else. So it was beautiful, and oh, look at this color, look at this man. So the resort was this beautiful, very exclusive resort, I want to say, and it was beautiful. And can you tell I have like a cloud? So I don't know how to talk about this other than talking about it, right? So it was beautiful, but it was terrifying. It was terrifying, honestly. Hi, my name is Luis Martin. I am Mexican and I am brown. I'm blessed to have access to so many beautiful things, and I don't lead with my traumas. I don't lead with my history. I just am here in the moment, and I live right here. I don't live in my skin. I live right here. What does that mean? I don't let this drag me down, or other people's implications of this, right? So going to a beautiful place like this resort in sacred ground that is no longer sacred because it's been whatever, was really interesting because my husband and I were the only people of color there. We were the only brown people there. And it was interesting. I mean, I'm used to this. I'm totally used to this. This happens all the time, and whatever. But it was different there because like I said, the rocks were talking to me, and then they stopped talking to me. And the only brown people there were the people who work there. Not even like the waiters. It was the waiters behind the waiters. Like, they wouldn't let people that look like me actually talk to the patrons, which this time was me. So it was weird. And then I was like, why does this feel so different? No guilt here. So we in the United States, I mean everywhere, we're on sacred ground. We are on native land. We know here in New York, we're in the Lenape. We're in the Lenape land, right? We know this name. It's spoken. But they've built layers and layers and layers of other histories on top of that. So there's no real trace of it, right? Maybe you feel it sometimes here and there, but there's no real trace of it. In Arizona, I felt very eerie because I felt like it's as if someone came into my studio, shot me point blank, and sat where I sit and did the exact same art, wore the exact same jewelry, the exact same clothes, did the exact same rituals that I did. But it's not me, and they don't allow anyone that would look like me in there. It was so... I was on a place of genocide, right? But instead of getting rid of them completely, they kept their clothes, their architecture, their rituals, their magic. It was really heavy, you guys. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It was beautiful, and the vortex, I didn't experience it in the way like I went to this place and I was like, I had really vivid dreams. It was intense. It's mixed emotions. So after that, we drove to Albuquerque. Oh, look at this. This is beautiful. We went to Albuquerque, New Mexico. And that felt different. There were brown people there. Everywhere we went. So I was like, okay, this is cool. Also, I'll just say, Sedona is a tourist neighborhood. So the economics, like, people can't even live there, really, unless you come from a wealthy background. So take it with a grain of salt. Look at this. So it was heavy. It was really, really heavy. And like I said, I'm processing it, and I don't know what that means. And I think the scariest part really is how cycles, right? We're going through this idea of getting rid of people and genocide all over again, and we don't learn, right? Like, it's the same thing. So it's a lot to process. It's a lot. Needless to say, we are all native of a place, of this earth, right? And I am not about separatism. I'm not about taking sides. I'm on my side, actually. I've been part of too many damn wars. I'm on my side. But I will say, there's no place for guilt. The only way to move forward is to move forward and give each other space, create space for each other, right? And that's what I do all of my life. That's what I've done. That's how I am here. That's how I'm still alive and in a fairly good state of mind, right? So I invite you, if you feel the same way, if you're a person of color that does not see yourself represented in the world you're in, know that you are that light for other people, right? I read this beautiful saying that said, stop believing in God and be God. So that's it, my friends. That's it. We can stop the video now. Okay, so it was really heavy. Oh, look at this blue. It was really heavy. We went out to a hike right outside the resort called Kachina Woman Rock, and it was beautiful. I was at the foot of this place, and I gave thanks to, because it was Kachina Woman, I gave thanks to all of the mothers, all of the women in my life, and I spoke the name of a few friends, and it was beautiful. It was, and you don't need to leave your house to do this. You can go outside and sit next to nature, in front of a tree, in front of a river. It's good enough. But it's nice to venture out and learn, right? Because those rocks were telling me stories, right? They were telling me a history, right? And just like this, they call it Kachina Woman Rock. You can see a figure of a person. You can see figures of the native people everywhere in these rocks. I'm Mexican. I am, these are my cousins 10 times removed, perhaps, because those borders are just made up on paper by men, right? It's not, we're all the same people. So, with different histories, obviously, but we're the same people, you guys. So, it was beautiful to be able to connect to that. To connect to that whichever way you can that's respectful and authentic for you. So yes, it was beautiful, you guys. But then we drove, you guys. We drove 5 hours, which honestly felt like a blink of an eye. I wasn't driving. You can ask Elvis how he felt about it. Also, here's another thing. Elvis is also a brown man, but he does not have the same experiences that I do because we have very different upbringings. He's Dominican, I'm Mexican. Mexicans were colonized in a very different way than people in the Caribbean were. So Mexicans were humbled into believing they were less than and created kind of into servitude. So there is this word in Spanish that I cannot stand, and if you're Mexican, you're going to know what word this is. And I cannot stand this word, and I tell my sisters never use this word. In Spanish, when you I'm looking for a paper. When people ask you something or you didn't hear, you say mande. Mande? And what that means is command me. Command me? Oh, it just boils my skin, you guys. Can you imagine answering a question or having that be your call when you answer the phone or when you like, tell me what to do? I'm at your service? No. Oh, God. So yeah, so we're very different. So what I was aiming at is that Elvis had a different experience. He allows me space to kind of process things. So it's not the same for everybody, but it doesn't mean it's not valid, my experience or his experience. But you know, we all experience things differently. All right, look at this. So I'm tapping into the magic that I saw. I'm tapping into the worlds that came forward, and so yeah, I mean, I know it's completely different, right? So let me know if you've been to Sedona. Let me know what you experienced. I know it's completely different for everybody. But listen, if you are there and if you are not Latino and you do see these things, what do? Well, you don't have to call them out. But if you see someone that looks like me that's not given the opportunity to talk or to shine, say hi. Make eye contact, right? You do not know how eye contact, acknowledgement makes such a big difference. Okay, so also this means a lot to me because I live in an exclusively white building in a very posh neighborhood in New York. People do not look at me in my building. They just don't see me. They're not conditioned to see people like me. I don't care. I love my apartment. I love where I live. I have a great life, whatever. But it's irkful and it's corrosive when you are ignored, neglected, and not seen, right? So if you are in that position, acknowledge people, right? I mean, and this goes not only for people of color, but older people. Older people are just kind of like fade into the background, right? Or if you see someone with a disability, right? Someone in a wheelchair, if you're gonna have a conversation, what if you sat down instead of stood up, right? Like all these all to say, we're just people and we just want to be acknowledged and have a shared communal experience where we all have equity, right? We don't have to be equal, but equity, meaning we can both have access to be heard, to be seen. So with everything that's happening in the world, I think it was an interesting experience to have, honestly. All right, look at this. So this is just beautiful, and I don't know how I'm gonna incorporate this. I just love the way I love graphic design. This is beautiful. So let's play with this. Okay, so in Albuquerque, we were just there for a few hours because we left the following day. I got to go to Terry's house. Actually, you know what? Stop. Let's have the studio visit right now.
as he's scrolling around.
He's real. Terry Garrett is real. Where are we, Terry?
You are in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
In the happiest place in the world, Terry.
Yes, in my happy house, yeah.
We are in Terry's studio. I have seen this much
Yeah.
of Terry's studio on Zooms, as you probably have as well. And there is a left, there is a back, and there is a right. Terry, it is so good to see you. Can I give you a huge hug? Oh my God, it's so good to see you. I can't believe you're real.
Oh, well, I couldn't believe the email or the message that I got going, want to have lunch on Friday? And I went, oh, we must have meant that for somebody else.
Yes.
And here you are.
It was
we just had lunch.
Thank you. Amazing chili. He has the recipe. Yeah, we got on a plane, thought, let's travel. So we needed to come see Terry. So we drove 5 hours to see Terry. It went like this. But we are in your happy place. Can you show us around? What is your go-to?
Oh, my go-to. You know, I was just mentioning earlier, I used to visual journal a lot, and I can tell I'm getting ready to start to do some more of that because processing with art making is about as good as it gets. And the only thing better than that is art making with people that you love and sitting in the same room and being able to do that. And so that's what keeps me going for art groups. And that's why I love the Zooms that we have for Collage Dream. And, but yeah, I go through phases where I get totally obsessed with stuff. And currently what I'm obsessed with are these business envelope books. And I think I love them because it's just 2 envelopes. And so it's a doable space. And I can think of a concept that I want to work through, and then you can either add tags, or in a couple of the other ones here, I've got some envelopes there. I think it's this one. Nope.
And you're on a roll. Look at all
those.
Oh,
I've just gone crazy. So the pockets that these business ones take, and then I continue the narrative with a little piece. And these are all quotes about collage and what collage is about. And so, yeah, I like that. I've always liked bookmaking, and my collage tends to be narrative in nature. And so it's a really good fit for that. And so I do a lot of collaborations where I do accordion books with other people. And so, yeah.
As we were walking in, you shared this bookshelf right here. Can you take a look at this? You have the camera, of course. We have Elvis.
Oh, yeah. These are visual journals, and I oftentimes, I will bind my own for that, and I have this one structure that I really like, that it's a self-wraparound cover, and then I just go to it. And
how long have you been making these?
I've probably journaled since the late 90s, maybe, and I never know what's going to happen when I start in.
What have you learned?
And what I've learned is that when I don't do it, it can get pretty bad here. So, of course, here we have the fish going through there. So, yeah, that's a biggie. And like I said, I hadn't done it for a while, and now I'm ready to get rolling back into that. But I like doing artist trading cards. I like doing standalone collages. I will try about anything, and hence, could we get any more supplies crammed in to this small space here?
Well, I remember you always talking about collaborations, and I see collaboration everywhere I turn. Can you tell us a little bit about your memorable collaborations?
Yeah, the collaborations, I was in a collage group for quite a while. It was called Not Paper, and I met some incredible artists, and I was introduced to collaboration by a couple of them. And my very first one was with this wonderful artist who sadly is no longer with us. Scott Hatt was his name, and very interesting gay man. And he sent me 8 antique postcards, and he had done stuff on 4 of them, and then 4 were ready for me to do something to, and I finished his, and I started mine, and then sent him back. And then once he finished them, then he posted them all and he goes, which ones do you want? You know, and I was hooked from then on.
That's amazing. And like, talk about building community, right?
Yeah, and so you end up, you know, sometimes the collaborations can be with 3 or 4 people, and I like those as well. The main ones that I really got into for a very long time, and I still do it, are the accordion book ones, because I love that narrative and the challenge of trying to make the story kind of be cohesive as it goes through the front to the back, and with nothing, you know, I start those off and I have no idea what it's going to be.
That's amazing. So before we started rolling, or taking rolling, before we started videotaping, you showed me some pictures of yourself younger. And it's so comforting, because I don't know a lot of older gay men, right? Unfortunately, we lost a lot of them to the AIDS epidemic.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And we don't know what it looks like to be amazing at all stages of our life.
Yeah.
So to be in such a magical space and actually find myself on your wall here is so meaningful to me.
Yeah.
And I see so much. It's so important what you're doing, and I love that you're collaborating. I love that you're constantly making things, because I really think, as artists, we really make the world go round.
Oh, you know? I firmly believe that. And when I very first saw the video of you, and what was it called, A Perfect Day?
Perfect Day. Yeah.
And I'm going, oh my God, I am so going to know this man. I just loved what you said about your art, about collage and all that, and then to meet and come across this whole community across the world, you know, and it takes some doing, and kudos to you for pulling that off, because it's not an easy thing to do. And I facilitate a collage group here that I started, and you know, we're artists, so it's just like, come on, you know, herding cats, can we do this? Come on, you'll love it. It'll be fun, you know. And so I so look forward to the monthly Zooms that we do with you, and then out of that, I've gotten very close to several people that are in the Collage Dream group, and so then we do our own collaborations and things like that. It just goes on beyond
and
that.
It's so nice to see them here present. But I also have to say, someone that we never see on the Zooms in the background is this amazing character, Ron, that actually exists.
Yay!
Hello, Ron. To be in the background.
Okay, just really quick. How long have you been together?
47 years.
47 years.
47 plus, yeah.
And
longer than you've been alive.
Longer than I've been alive. Thank you.
That's a
Thank you for stating that.
That happens frequently.
It does.
You know, a lot of people were saying, wow, what's the secret? So here's your chance. What's the secret?
God.
Perseverance.
Perseverance.
Because let's face it, in that
letting
amount of
go.
time for anyone's life, a lot of changes and a lot of challenges present themselves. And it's a matter of trying to navigate that, not just by yourself, but with another person. So you've got to, you know, it's a...
And, you know, and
it doesn't work for everyone.
And we were best friends before we got together.
Yeah.
And then we sort of had a little brief detour where we both married women. And then it's like, uh-oh, what happened there?
Wow.
That was not the best choice.
It's also not infrequent, but
No.
especially as you go back in time as opposed to now, where people
But my then wife Nancy goes, why do we always have to go over to Ron and Barb's house? Because Ron's my best friend.
Wow. Okay, we're going to have to do a whole
Sounds
movie
like
about that. I love that.
But, you know, having that starting base of being best friends and
shared interests.
Yeah, shared interests. And, you know, we're talking, you know, I moved in with Ron in 1976. So that was...
I saw proof.
Yeah, that was not... that was hard then. You know, I mean, that was the Anita Bryant days, you know, with the pie thing. It was... And then shortly, a couple years later, then it was the whole AIDS thing. And, you know, so, yeah.
Wow.
But being able to have that history is huge. It's incredible. and that support, and we've gone through cancer together, and we've gone through
COVID
lots of
together.
stuff.
We've gone through. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, thank you for opening your house to us. It's such
Oh,
a
you're
beautiful
welcome. More than
testament of your lives
Please
and the
come back.
colors. We will. And it's interesting because as I hear you talk about your relationship, it's almost also the same thing with your relationship with art. Right, it kind of has to be your best friend.
Yeah.
It
Yes.
has to be your
Oh, yeah.
go-to as well,
Right.
and I see it in everything that you do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I just thank you for having us, and
Thank you.
I'm sure everyone's flipping out to seeing you, your bottom half, and the room.
Oh, I love it.
All right, guys.
This
cheers.
is so fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Art fam, this is your community. This is someone who you're connected to. Know that this person exists, makes a better world for us all. And connect. It doesn't have to be directly with Terry, but connect with the people around you. You know that experience that I was telling you I had in Arizona at this resort? It's people like Terry, it's the motion of connecting with people like Terry that make it okay. All of a sudden, I feel whole, right? I see a reflection of myself. I feel connected. We had eye contact. He smiled. I smiled back. He welcomed me into his house. So, wow. Whenever the world feels big and scary, just remember there's people like Terry out there, right? So we had a great time. He made chili for us, cornbread, which, if you know anything about me, is that I have the biggest sweet tooth. The only reason I work out is because I eat pancakes every day. And it was a brilliant time, and I can't wait to go back. Albuquerque was beautiful. It was beautiful. That's all I can say. It was beautiful. We stayed at a really beautiful hotel called Hotel Chaco. The bathroom was weird, but it was cool. Okay, so look, how can I incorporate this? So as I'm talking about like this experience, like this almost becomes kind of, it looks tribal, right? There's something very interesting happening here. So let's tap into this. And if you like Native American art and you want to, and you're not Native American, what's the best way to go about exploring it? Well, make your own, like this is almost making reference to, the tribal art, but it's not stealing from it or in any way being disrespectful in my exploration of it, right? So these are things to think about. Okay. And as Terry said in the video, art is the best way to process things. So while I wasn't making art while I was in Sedona, my art muscle really helps me get through all of it, right? And it really makes me stronger. We also went to the word always gets me messed up. It's not Tallahassee. Taliesin's West. That's what it was. Taliesin's West, which is a Frank Lloyd Wright compound. And you guys, it's in Phoenix. And this was a testament of everything I want to do with my life. Basically, he created this compound where people can come in community, create art, deal with issues, and find creative ways to solve certain things. It was beautiful. And it's really interesting. They have a workroom as well as a cabaret. They have a workroom, and as soon as I walked in, the smell took me back. Like there was something very nostalgic about it. And I quickly realized that when I was a kid in LA, one of my favorite places, I used to go to these art classes at Barnsdall. And Barnsdall was designed by Frank Lloyd Wright. And I guess it's something in the materials, but that connection was like so life affirming. It made me really, really happy. So If you can get out there, go check that out. Okay, this is really cool. I'm liking this. And again, in many ways, perhaps I'm processing my conversation through this, right? Can you see what I'm doing here? And I wasn't doing this on purpose, but as I explore it, and I don't like to dissect things until I'm done, but here it seems very poignant. I'm almost creating bars. I'm creating a barrier to the sacred land and to the magic with these black bands. And again, maybe that's something that I'm thinking about subconsciously as I'm having this conversation about genocide and the missing Native Americans while their things are there. I don't know. So create space for you to process with art, with anything really, even if it's just choosing what you're going to have for lunch. It's a tool. Art is a tool. I'm not here to be your collage ringleader. No. I'm here to facilitate art. If you never make a collage, that's perfectly fine with me. What I don't want you to stop doing is exploring your magic as an artist. That's why we're here, right? So if you are a member and you haven't collaged for a year, I don't care. I just want you to move your hands and have a conversation and do some soul work, right? Because if there's no soul, I don't want it. Okay, so wait, what did I say? Okay, so I have one more, and perhaps I can play with this idea. I also had a lot of coffee today. Not that that's a surprise, but okay, yes, this is fantastic. I love this. Okay, yeah. And now that I know what this is about, I guess it does take a different meaning, doesn't it? Okay, I haven't asked you. How are you? How have you taken care of yourself today, this week, these past 2 weeks? You don't have to defend anybody. You can just exist right now. Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, there's not much I can do here other than this, right? So let's not turn on each other here. Okay, I'm liking this, but I like to gild the lily. I'm going to do one more thing, and I don't know what it's going to be. But didn't I clip something else? I cannot believe that Thanksgiving is just 2 weeks from now. Oh. So, I mean, that's an opportunity for good things, right? Come on. Let's get it together. Okay, so, I'm a hybrid of desert and jungle. My father's from the jungle, my mother's from the desert, so I always need some of this. So let's see what I can do with this. And maybe that's it. Look at that. Oh, you guys. Voila. Feeny. Doop, 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 doop. Okay. Yeah, the doop, doop, doops came out, so this is good. I am going to shift your eye to the beautiful thing behind me. Hashtag Javelina, you guys. I'm obsessed. I sent my nieces a pair, and now we're a Javelina tribe. I can't speak. So I'm really excited about this. Get yourself a Javelina. They're brown little hogs. Like me? I don't know, but they're not pigs, so don't call them pigs. Okay, so here's my collage. So again, I'm fine. I went through a very interesting experience in Arizona, and I'm still processing it. And the art kind of buffers any anger or sadness that I might have, I think, about the history of which I'm part of, right? The history of which we're all part of, and the circles, the cycles we're all part of. So how do we break these cycles? I don't know. Come to the studio and figure it out, because this is where a lot of the answers come from, right? So this is my collage. I've created more safe spaces, I guess. I'm acknowledging the magic, and I'm creating boundaries. Boundaries are very important. And I'm bringing all of myself, right? Not only the desert, but also the jungle. And with that, I say this is a collage. My art fam, I come back from trips, especially when I've connected with other art fam, absolutely invigorated, knowing that this scary world is not so scary. So don't believe that, and we're not separated. I love you all and send you much light. All right, this is Luis Martin, the art engineer. Let's connect. Text somebody right now and just say, hey, what's going on? Do you want to make some Christmas cards together? All right, I want to see them. Cheers. Bye.